All right. So today for our creative live discussions, our 10 a.m. session, we have Jeremy Dreskin. Um, I just want to go ahead and you go ahead and start with the first question. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what started your creative journey and led you to want to start your business.
Yeah, sure. Well,
And
it
what
kind
is
of
your
goes,
business?
yeah, yeah. Kind of goes back to even when I was a kid. I've been kind of surrounded by creativity. I studied music. I worked, through high school. We actually hung out in a painter's art studio, friend of ours, and created 2D, 3D work, and then worked in theater, technical theater. And to start with, I'm an architect. So through this journey, I went to school for art studio and theater. Ended up going into architecture because I thought I could kind of bring all those skills all together and start creating. And Worked at a firm here locally for about 20 years, became a partner. And a couple of the last projects I worked on were the teen expansion at Explore Science Center and the renovation of the Australia exhibits at the biopark.
Hmm.
And in those projects, I got to work with these amazing creative teams and realized that's what I want to be doing is working with those folks and creating um, anything and everything. So I started my business a couple years back with that goal in mind. I want to kind of be the person that you can come to with a whatever crazy idea you have and figure out how to actually implement it and make it happen. Whether it's
Mhm.
even something from I have an idea for a design, an exhibit design, and we just need to figure out how it goes together and fabricate it to I have this idea for an immersive dining experience that changes from day to night, and it's, projection mapping with an ocean scenery, and you want to feel like you're sitting there drinking margaritas on the ocean day and night kind of thing. So, and just create this network of folks that can do um, all these kind of amazing specialty things and be able to connect people and really implement design. So uh, that's my effort now. So
All right, no, thank you for just saying that. And I don't think like the that connection is a consistent thing. Really seeing that. I mean, creativity can connect you in so many ways, from people to theories, right? And even and I think I can hear that through what you were saying through your journey.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
So, how has New Mexico's creative landscape influenced your work and approach to collaboration?
Well, and I think, like I said, I grew up over here. I actually was born in Los Angeles, moved out here during high school, and just having it's you're just submerged in creativity. It seems like, at least in my experience, it's everywhere, and folks are just moving with whatever kind of creative aspect they have, um, and it's super accessible. I think that's one thing about New Mexico. I think
Mhm.
arts community as a whole, whether nationwide or worldwide, is pretty accessible, but particularly in New Mexico, where uh, if you have an idea or you want to learn something, you can almost just go find the person who does that and say, "Hey, I'm interested," and yeah, I think that's what has really shaped um, my whole experience and journey in New Mexico is just having that accessibility.
Yeah, I agree. I think, um, well, me not being from New Mexico, right? I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri, and I can say like, and when I lived in Kansas City, we would go to the Nelson Atkins Museum, we would go to some of the art museums, but I don't think I really got to see, or I mean, I saw the art community, but more performing arts, not necessarily like into design and kind of how it's connected here in New Mexico, because I feel like, yeah, when I moved in Albuquerque, it was just learning like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that this was made here or what was going on here, and knowing like just history own art and on certain places and just the architecture and the history that's in buildings. And I mean, it's multifaceted. All right. And that was just in Albuquerque. I feel like uh learning more since I took this job was almost like in Harry Potter when he got the letter and found out he was going to Hogwarts. And then you see the whole wizarding world just is unveiled from there. It feels like that when it comes down to the creative community here in New Mexico, because the more I'm learning and falling into these other places, it's almost like it's there, it's in your face in places, and other places it's kind of hidden, but active. And it's just real cool because you really get to see so many different creative ways and creative approaches to art, design, performance, entertainment, just everything.
Yeah, definitely. And I think another thing about New Mexico is that it's you really get the feeling of authenticity. And I'm
Yes.
not sure why specifically, whether that's the culture or the history of New Mexico, but I think that's something that I recognize being from New Mexico and seeing other opportunities throughout the states, is that there's just this really um, pure sense of authenticity when you see art in New Mexico. So
Yeah, I agree with that. And the people. If you don't know nobody, ain't nobody gonna bring you in. That's true on that one.
yeah, right. Right.
All right. So what's a collaboration that you've been a part of that had a lasting impact on your business or your community?
That's a good question. I've had a lot of great collaborations, and I mentioned some of them already. And it, it's just that exposure to being able to work with other folks and see it from people's point of view, and really kind of connect with people and get them to where they want to be.
Hmm.
Um, I find a lot of folks, again, have kind of these grandiose ideas, and they're like, "Well, I don't really know where to start." And from my professional background, that's we start from scratch, right? And we figure out where we bring in all the other pieces and of the puzzle and put them together and figure out where you're going. And so, I mean, I've had some fantastic collaborations with like National Dance Institute in New Mexico and Cachette Center for the Arts, Explora. Um, Honestly, I think, well, I have private clients that I just have been fantastic also. So I was going to say, a lot of them end up being nonprofit. I think that's probably because most of those folks really kind of need the support and help to figure
Hmm.
out where they're going. But, that's kind of the key of who I want to work with, is folks that really can collaborate and have great ideas and get from point A to point B with them. So,
Yeah. I think that's the one thing about collaboration that most people don't talk about is the need of work, right? You can't collaborate with somebody who's not doing something.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's hard. It's just hard. But at least someone that has a vision, right? And it's like the question of how do you eat an elephant, right? It's knowing that you just got to think about the plan and knowing you can't do it by yourself, right? It's
Right,
better to
right.
share and go from there. Um, but I also think that's one of the things that I even had to think differently, even as a business owner, is where I want to go with my business, really. Right. Sometimes you might just do it because it sounds cool, but it's like you still got to pay taxes. You still got to do all these other things. So it's like the same thing with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
project or anything else. You got to know what the value is and what's the worth and why and your why, right? And then that's how you're gonna get other people to go in and know that you can't do it by yourself. Because
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
um, all right. So how do you think creative businesses in New Mexico can work together to grow, not just individually, but collectively?
Well, I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's just communication. I think a lot of times folks have a lot of great ideas, and sometimes multiple people have the same great idea. And then what happens is they kind of end up overlapping, or even worse, kind of competing against each other. And really kind of bringing everybody together. I mean, you see it, I see it often where, there's a couple of events or something, and then those folks get together and that event is now 3 times as big, right? The next time it
Hmm.
happens, once everybody collaborates. And like I said, it's just reaching out, finding folks that have the same interests, um, and support and communicate and try and make things happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. Now, what advice would you give to creatives who want to collaborate but don't know where to start?
I think it's similar. You reach out, you find somebody who's doing something that you want to be doing. Like I mentioned, New Mexico is super accessible. When I started doing what I'm doing, I reached out to a bunch of my colleagues and everybody. Yeah, how about try this? Go reach out to this person, find this guy, go see if this person can help you do it. And it's just kind of making those connections, or just learning from folks. It's kind of constantly learning and figuring out how to keep getting yourself better at doing what you want to do, and and keep moving step by
Yeah.
step, right?
No, I agree. I agree. I think it's that age old age old issue, like the same issue that a lot of people have when they go into college is not asking for help when you know you need tutoring, you need some other things, and the resources is there, but most people don't know how to access or honest, might even have a fear to ask or access but definitely knowing that the first step is reaching out or going out and being around people who are probably in your field and doing something similar, and then uh, and really just knowing that you can really go farther together than alone, right? Because being on your own, have to think about where the money coming from and how it's going to get done and doing things that you know you're not a professional in when you could have somebody that is it don't make sense sometimes, right? But I understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now what role do you see technology, like social media? We in the age of AI, we have virtual events. Right now we're on Zoom and other things like that. How do you think that will play in fostering collaboration within the creative economy? And then how do you think it will affect the creative economy?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm interested in AI. We'll see how that goes. I hear both directions, especially coming from a design standpoint. People say it's a tool, other people say it's taking away the creativity.
Hmm.
Um, again, I think that's something you use it how you need to, and if it's a tool, it'll help progress folks, um, get to where they want to be, and fine tune it. I think what the biggest thing technology is going to do is long distance collaboration. And I've seen it, I mean, even since before pandemic times when we all got on Zoom meetings. I mean, even now today, we have an opportunity to collaborate, but some of the collaboration tools, digital collaboration tools right now, are just getting better and better. And it, it, it's not a substitute for being in the same room and collaborating with somebody. Uh, but it's really helpful for kind of the in-between parts, um, getting to when you're prepared to be in person, I think. I've collaborated digitally for years now, right? I
Hmm.
have consultants all over that I have to work with, and um, again, I think it's preparing for that. When we get together, we can really make a lot happen at that point in time. So,
I agree. I agree.
yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, sure.
And now, what's one thing you want fellow creatives to walk away with after today's conversation?
Oh, I think if you have an idea that you're passionate about it, you got to go after it, and you got to figure out how to do that, right? That is, I mean, even going back to the AI conversation, you got to have that idea. You have to have that spark that really drives you,
Hmm.
um, and figure out how to do it. And then you reach out to folks like Ferdy, or like myself, and say, hey, how do I do this? Or yourself, and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. I know it's crazy, but do you have any idea who I might talk to next to make that happen, right?
Hmm.
And that's I think that's the important thing about creativity is once you have that spark, don't let it go, you know.
You know, that's true. That's true. I always said the same thing about imagination. Feel
Yeah.
like I remember being young and I don't know, it was watching a cartoon. Kids Next Door, I think, is one of the ones where it was just talking about losing your imagination and what happens, and it was like turning into an adult and you're just grumpy and old. And I think um that's one of the things right there is key to that. What you just said is you gotta have your imagination too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you
Absolutely.
have any upcoming projects, opportunities, or events that you would like to share with us or to support or for other local creatives to be able to come and support?
Um, not in particular. I think I would almost turn that question around that if you have an idea or an opportunity that you're trying to go after, reach out to me, reach out to anybody. But yeah, if it's, architectural related or design related or, fabrication, anything, it's, I think any way I can help, I'll help. And then, if I don't know how to do it, I usually try and figure out anyway. So, yeah, reach out to somebody. Yeah, definitely.
All right, and since you said that, if you don't mind, how would they be able to reach you?
I have my email, which is really easy. Also got my website. It's jeremydreskin.studio. Um, you can reach me through there. And those are probably the easiest. And yeah, you can take a look at what kind of work that I'm working on and then reach out and let me know. I actually, it was funny. I was sitting in a coffee shop talking to somebody the other day, and the girl next to us overheard the conversation. She says, "I have this idea." I was like, "Well, give me a call. Let's figure out. Let's see how we can do it." So I that's kind of what drives me is that creativity and being able to help other folks to get get their ideas to fruition if we can.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So now we do got a couple of audience members. I want to be able to open it up to anyone who may have any questions for Jeremy. If you do, please raise your hand and then you can unmute and go from there. I see you, Ferdy. Oh,
There you go.
there you
Looking
go.
for the unmute. I just, oh, I'm good.
You are.
Jeremy, what you were describing just happened right now in the last 20 minutes. I realized the first thing I have to do is come down and talk with you.
Yeah.
As a person
Fantastic.
who has been trying to do what I can with my team and everything else, I realized what I was missing was that other perspective. So what you bring is fresh eyes and a obviously a fiery mind and a creative passion to the thing. I think that's really what is going to be necessary right now. So you can expect, if you don't mind putting that in the chat, I tried to type it as quick as I could, but I'm not sure I got it right. If you just throw your email in the chat, that'd be great.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
but I think it's wonderful and absolutely needed. And Arlen, your questions were spot on, and your own reflections. This has been a really great session. So I'm going to be quiet and leave time for others.
No problem. No, thank you. Thank you. And we look forward to your session at 1 o'clock today.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I threw my email in the chat. Please, anybody reach out. I'm always interested to hear what folks are doing and try and help them get to where they need to go, even if I can't be the one to help them. So, yeah.
Martin, Teresa, Brianna, any questions? All right.
All right.
Well, if no one has any more questions, no problem. Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah. Arlen, well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for
Enjoyed it.
signing up and coming. We really
Yeah.
appreciate you coming and sharing your story and being able to answer some of our questions and help us be able to do these live discussions and really push the collaboration and creativity. I really like the fact that like what I was saying earlier, us being able to just have a conversation and to connect even you and Ferdy and others through these live conversations as well as some of this information is going to be clipped up. We're going to use these videos, and once we get them all downloaded, we'll be sending them out to all of our participants as well, so you can use for your own use as well. But we'll definitely be putting it into our social media and stuff over the next couple of months.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no problem. All right, with that, thank you so much, and we'll go ahead and end the live here.
All right.